Next up, let's talk about creating private properties or private fields. So let's start with a small problem. My player class right now, every instance has a score that starts at 0. And the way that my game works, whatever this game is, you can have a score that goes up and up and up, right? Thousands of points. Let's say it's pinball or something. But you can't have a negative score. The lowest you should ever be able to have a score is 0. And I don't want someone to be able to do this. Right now, anybody or any developer could go player1.score equals negative something like that, right? And then if we just if we console.log player1, there's nothing stopping you, right? There's no access denied. There's nothing saying this is private. You can't access that. Everything is assumed public. It's accessible anywhere in the code, inside the class or outside. Right now I'm outside. So if I print this out, we change score. It's negative. And I have no way of preventing somebody from doing that, at least with what we've seen so far. What I could do, though, is politely ask a user or a developer to not touch score. And in the past, the way that this would be done is to have like an underscore property. So underscore score is supposed to indicate that this is private. It's just a convention. Don't touch this. But that doesn't stop somebody from touching it. You can still do whatever you want. It's just a name. So that doesn't mean anything to the code itself. It's just supposed to indicate something to a developer. Hey, this is not to be touched outside the class. But nothing's stopping them from doing that. However, we have a somewhat new option, which is to actually use the hash symbol that looks like that, the octothorpe, the pound sign, the hash symbol. You'll see that it changes color in here, first of all. But if we have any property that starts with a hash, so in this case, score, hash score equals 0. This tells JavaScript that this property should only be usable inside of the player class. So I should not be able to then come down here. So this doesn't even exist, but I can't access player.hash symbol score. And I'll actually get an error here just telling me that it's not accessible outside. This is coming from TypeScript because I'm in a TypeScript project, even though I'm writing JavaScript. But if I save this code and just come to the browser, I get an error. Private field. It's giving me a syntax error. What I'm doing, it's kind of a clunky error message, but what I'm doing is not allowed. It's totally valid to have this inside the class, but that tells JavaScript this variable or this field is not available outside the class. So if we want to give a user access to score, we could do something like this. We could make a little wrapper method called, get score. And then that can simply return hash symbol score. And that needs to be this dot hash symbol score. So no error, right? I can use that inside the class. That's how it's designed. And I can then return the value. So it's kind of in a bubble. It's encapsulated here. But then we can access it outside. So I can then look at get score and I can print that out. And we should see 0 printed out. But I still can't change score. So then I could set up, a set score, update score, and it takes a new score like this, right? And then we just do this dot pound sign score equals new score. And so this would allow me to, if I just comment all this other stuff out for a little bit, I can get the score, and then I can set the score to be 28, and then I can get the score again, and we should see that it does change. Set score is not a function. Update score, I think is what I called it. TypeScript would have helped me there. We would have got a little error before I went anywhere else. So it starts at 0, undefined. Yeah, I don't need to print out the result of updating the score, but that doesn't really matter. And then it goes to 28, and you can see that our private property has been updated to 28, and that's allowed because I'm doing that updating inside the class. So this is honestly kind of a clunky solution in my opinion, the way that this was added into JavaScript to make this private field a reality, but it still is totally valid. It's way better than not having that option. And we just preface any property, any field with that hash symbol, and it doesn't have to be using this class field syntax. It could be in our constructor, right? I could say this dot secret with a hash symbol equals that. It's just that in my case, I want score to be private. And probably num lives as well. We could make that private too. And then if I reference num lives, I have to make sure inside the class I'm using that. And then anywhere I try and access num lives, I'm not going to be able to anymore outside the class. So we can also make private methods with that same syntax. I could add some method in here called secret, and I'm going to delete this afterwards. But right now, anybody can call this from outside the class. Secret, anybody can touch that. But if I put a hash symbol in front of it, it's now a private method, and I don't have access to it out here. Player1 dot hash symbol secret, I'm going to get an error message. Once again, private field secret. It's a clunky error message, but that's JavaScript's way of telling me you can't do that. It's private. But within the class, at any point, let's just say from the constructor, I'll do this dot and then secret. And I can do that. I'm inside the class. This is private, but inside the class, I can call it. And I should see secret printed out. Great. Okay, so that's how we can make a private method or a private property / field. We just use that hash symbol to preface it. Prefix it, whatever. Okay,